Hey yo everybody, it's Johnny5 Alive here and welcome back to some more Project PlanCo. And in today's video we're taking a stroll back to the fantasy area of this park. Good googly moogly, we have 6 amazing builds, including a hero build, that of the Princess Amelie Coaster Station. That's pretty exciting stuff. So at the time of this recording, I'm about a week and a half away from the deadline of the other submissions, but it appears to be that I've recorded enough content and placed enough buildings where I've effectively caught up to you guys just a little bit. While I do have plenty of submitted blueprints to make more episodes on, they're kind of like incomplete. As I mentioned previously with like sci-fi, I'd probably rather do a whole video on all the sky plots. Most of the sky plots are in except for like 2 or 3. So while I could do another 8 plots in sci-fi, there'd be some down there, some up there, and then some down here and some up there later on. I'd rather wait. In terms of like spooky, I only have 2, so I'm pretty much, I gotta wait on that. And then like, pretty much the same says about everything else. I apparently have a plot over here that I have to build, and I have not started on that, so I probably gotta go do that as well. Also have to nudge Chant to do hers. So we're all over the place at this moment, but the deadline is coming up in a week and a half at the time of this recording. But by the time you're watching this, the deadline has most likely passed. So I have a bunch of recordings that I've done. I've done a bunch of content, and now I'm just going to be taking a break from everything while I wait for you guys and the deadline to catch up, and then I'm just going to go crazy again. And but that doesn't affect anything. As of right now, with the amount of content that I've done and released, you guys should have been used to seeing 3 videos a week, as I have had enough to do that. And by the time the deadline hits and the rest of the content pours out, I should have enough to continue doing 3 videos a week again. But that means I'm going to be working through like the middle of the holidays-ish, or up, leading into the holidays. So we're going to make the most of it. We're going to keep on going. But in today's episode, we have the fantasy, and there's a lot of really good stuff to showcase to you guys. And then I'm going to wait for all the submissions to pile up so we can complete each of the areas with these grand finale, bigger than ever style episodes. So going forward after today, we're gonna get all these builds in, and then the next time we come to fantasy, we should hopefully get the rest in. The next time we go to Christmas, we should get the rest in, and so on and so forth. So I'm thinking for each of the revisits, other than sci-fi needing 2 more episodes, it'll be 1 episode each all the way to the end to get everything in. So we're just going to keep going, keep cranking away, and that's the plan going forward. For the plan for today, it is these 6 blueprints, and I want to kick things off with the Princess Amelie Station. This big boy right here, how many pieces were there given? I'm really curious. 2,500 seems somewhat low for such a big castle, but 1 dead duck, also known, I believe, as Dead-Eye Duck, they may have changed their name along the way, graciously designed us a Princess Amelie castle. What plot number is this, by the way? It's plot number 1. So what am I looking for? This guy. Download missing toolkit items. Say what now? Dead-Eye Duck included their own toolkit items. Ruh-oh. Hopefully that's not problematic. Huh, interesting. I should have all the Project PlanCo TMTK, and there were no, unless like, yeah, there's no note here saying that like Batch allowed it. The one thing about Dead-Eye Duck is they used to be a major competitor in terms of contests and content on this channel, and did some really incredible builds. They kind of stopped doing stuff and eventually moved over to building Thememaker toolkit items for the community. I could probably delete this, right? Whatever that is. Yeah, they ended up designing their own TMTK. So what I'm assuming when it says download these Thememaker toolkit items, Dead-Eye Duck made something. Custom made something for this project. Anyways, it is what it is. If I had to download something, it's not the end of the world. Batch might be upset about it, but I'm not. Wow. Wow frickin' we. There's our princess. There's her castle. Does it represent Princess Amelie? Is it plankified? I think so. I think that the clock, she's a little... If I were to make an adjustment here, I'd probably just leave her front center as the centerpiece, not off to the side. This is her castle. I understand wanting to have a clock on the castle for whatever reason, but we can keep the clock as sort of like a piece that outlines her. She's supposed to be the centerpiece, and I believe the rules were to use a large version of her as well as a small version of her. And I don't really see a large version of her, and that's why I definitely want that to be front and center. If I were to add a large version of her, where would I put it and why? Put it on this bare wall. I don't know where else. We could have a sign or something saying that this is the ride as well, but I mean, wow, this castle is phenomenal. So we go down the queue here, brings us back into here. This is kind of confusing. I don't know how the queue works. And it goes straight into here. Some rules left behind here. Anyways, this is looking amazing. Really, really beautiful castle. It looks like Princess Amelie. It includes those colors that I would come to want and expect from a Princess Amelie coaster. The little crown is represented with these little crowny bits here, and I really like that. I really like that. The girliness is the inclusion of the pink color there, and her blue dress, blue and yellow dress is pretty much everywhere on this castle. So, even these like autumn trees, a great way of representing her hair color. And in fact, I would love to see more of that. I would have actually preferred more autumn trees here instead of the fountain, just like you have it on this side. Is there a way we can just, well, maybe something we could do is just add some around the back sides of the castle, you know, on the hill, couple around there somewhere like that. Yeah. And now we got all the Princess Amelie colors included there. I love it. This is beautiful. Wow, what an incredible centerpiece by Deadeye Duck here. We have a bit of the castle clipping through here. I'm going to push that in. Just push that back a little bit. Now, does the castle come all the way out to here? I think it does. Yeah, just clean that up. There we go. Looking good. Wow, that's a way to represent fantasy. Everything I could have hoped and dreamt of. And it's different from that of what, who was it, BKU did over here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's different than this. So we have two different styles of castles, and I really quite like that. This is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. That really just brings a beautiful presence to our fantasy area, and I wouldn't change a thing. This is just legendary. The size, the scale, the scope of it. It's a legendary castle from a legendary builder in Deadeye Duck. At least it is what I think is Deadeye Duck, but I believe they changed their name. If not, I guess I'm confusing two builders, but let's put their new name over here, 1_dead_duck. There you go. Legendary build. Well done. That is one way to kick off the episode. Good googly moogly. Let's keep on going. We're moving over to Batch. Batch did another fantasy build. Wait, so if I understand this right, Batch did 1, 2 in fantasy already, and now a third with F10. F10, this guy. And it's like half Moroccan, apparently. Huh, interesting. Okay, which one is that? What am I looking for here? Blueprints. It's this one. Very interesting. It's fantasy on this side. Let's see what it looks like on the other side once I get this aligned. The pink color on this one, I like that. Looking good. Fun. Little castle crown thing. I wonder if we could have included this on the castle. Very princess-like. And there's the Morocco build on the back. Wow. That's kind of incredible. Well done. I think Batch took that one because he might have thought people were struggling with the concept. I know this was supposed to be half and half as well, Morocco to fantasy, but whoever took this, I told them don't actually make the front of this Moroccan because we already have Moroccan all over here. What we need to know is we're entering into the fantasy area. If this is Moroccan, then it looks like we're entering into the Moroccan area. And if this on the backside is fantasy, it looks like we're entering into the fantasy area. If anything, this should be the Moroccan side. But I think that's overall too confusing. So somebody took this build out and I told them just make it all fantasy. And even though Batch did this half Moroccan, half fantasy thing over here, which looks good and all, and I think it ties it all together quite nicely, I still think after this should still be just fantasy. There should be, it should contrast from Moroccan to fantasy, in my opinion. But whoever was building this decided to unbuild build it, and it is the one and only available plot at the time of me recording this. But by the time you guys are watching this video, it's probably been signed out by somebody. But I am seeing that it is not on, it is, so whoever was building this was struggling with it for whatever reason. But I imagine this Magica Mundi thing to be very similar to that of what we're seeing here from the Princess Castle, something very fantasy and inviting to fantasy. So I'll probably pin something in Discord about this and, you know, say that the Moroccan should be excluded. And hopefully when we eventually get to the next fantasy episode, this is a pure fantasy entrance and it looks really nice and jazzy. But what Batch did here with the half and half, I do like it. I quite like it. I think it works here, but I think it should stop there. I think Morocco is big enough. There's enough Moroccan stuff everywhere. And it's, I mean, look at this giant camel, for Pete's sakes. It had not been forgotten about, this Moroccan area of this theme park. So I'm quite satisfied with the amount of Morocco that we have. And I really hope that this park entrance for fantasy turns out to be something very fantastic. Yeah. Anyways, that's Batch's build. I think he did another amazing job on another amazing fantasy build there, Batch. Let's just grab one of your builder signs from one of your other builds, bring that on over to your new build and place that right in front. Boop. Good. All right. Another one in. Let's keep on going. Oh my God. The next two are from Batch. Why did you build all of fantasy on your own, Batch? What is happening here? Why didn't you let anybody else sign out something? I guess maybe a couple days had gone by and there were still some unassigned. Batch got impatient. But now there's people like going, oh, I wish there were more plots available. Well, Batch, if you didn't just get so antsy and just, you know, build them yourself, I'm sure someone would have come along. But where the heck is F12? Is there an F12? Oh, here. Big ass corner build. All right, right beside the castle. And what am I looking for here? A big corner build that has some castle-y elements to it. So I think this actually should fit and look quite nicely right next to the castle. Let's get this in. Boom. Wow. That is impressive. Let's get the lighting shifted to 2 p.m., 3 p.m. How do we get light on this thing? 12 p.m.? I guess this is one of those weird angles where the light never shines on this side of the park. Maybe it's like 11 a.m.? Nope, even worse. So yeah, 1 p.m. is the best I can do. Or like 12:30. Sorry, you get no light. Ever. Always in the shade. Another great looking build here from Batch. Once these curtains... Why did you put... Oh, wow. You can see the curtains through the windows. That's quite nice. I like that the little touch of pink and blue there. Kind of goes really nicely with the Amelie Castle next to it. It's medieval... It's a castle-y village. Very medieval structure, but with the peaks and the shapes that go really nicely with the castle next to it. Another very prominent and beautiful build from Batch. I like the foundation work on this with the brick going all the way around the sides. That looks sharp. And we can probably see a little bit of it from the Christmas village as well. Yeah, I like that. Wow, now that we got the castle and that in there from Batch, you can really start to see the views here from the Christmas village. This is turning out to be so sharp of a fantasy area. Oh, wow. I am loving this. Absolutely amazing. So I guess what we're going to do is just grab another sign from Batch and bring it over here. All these buildings are going to say Batch next to them. Oh, wow. I guess you could say he did them in batches. Oh boy. All right. Oh, I just realized, did I forget to look at did I do Tiki last? Did I forget to look at that at night? I might have to go over there when I do my nighttime pass. But we're ripping out the videos and I'm doing them in succession in mass amounts of recordings. So I'm forgetting to do things, but you guys are also seeing 3 a week at this point. So if there's something I forget and I go back to it later, it's just around the corner. So yeah, another big build from Batch. Now he's moving over to F13, which hopefully isn't next to all his other stuff. Wait, is it F13? Which one's F13? 14? Which one's 13? Is there a 13? Oh, this? Huh. And there's a shop, right? No, it's a bathroom. Okay. Let's see what you've done here for us today, Batch. Why can't I find it? Oh, it's at night. Hard to see. All right. Let's get you in. Well, I guess we all know what Batch's favorite theme in PlanCo is. You could have taken any plot and you chose like 5 of the fantasy ones, which is half the plots. But you know what, Vatch, you've done so much for the project already. I can't really complain. You're just doing more. But you didn't have to do more. I'm sure someone would have come along, but hey, I'm not mad at it. It gets the job done, right? Wow. So you did a little stables or a blacksmith. Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool. Wow. Give me some Skyrim vibes. Let's go. But it is also a stable, right? Yeah, it is. It's a stable and a blacksmith. Oh, I guess this is where, like, you get your horse, but they smith the horseshoes here, right? That makes sense. Cool. And there's some carrots in the bucket. Just a couple leftover carrots. And then this is, like, the blacksmith's little house. Got a big hay bale here. This is cute. And then they walk in there to go to the bathroom. No, I quite like that. That ties this area together quite nicely as well. Beautiful. Beautifully done there, Batch. So let's just grab another sign of yours. We're going to put this in the back and hide it so people don't see your name everywhere they walk. There we go. There you go, Batchy. Next up is Master Engineer 02 has taken out the next build, which would be F14. You're right here, right next to Batch. Here's a big boy. This one. Ooh, that looks amazing. Oh, and they include the builder sign for me. Look at that. Pop. Oh my goodness. If that tree wasn't in the way, I could actually look at it. This is very lively and playful. My goodness. Elliot the dragon? Oh, wow. Right next to the stable as well, right? You can get the hay over there, and you get some horseshoes for your dragon. It's the dragon stables across the street from the stables. I like it. It's kind of cohesive. I like the little roses growing up the top of the rooftop there. We got the, what is this stuff called? The lavender growing down the side. I like the way that looks. Oh my god, it's such a nice build. Really nice job. Master Engineer. Can kind of see peaks of it from there. Ooh. It's tying it all together quite nicely. My goodness gracious, you guys. Some great... I wish Fantasy was a little bit bigger, to be honest. Especially because all of them were built by Batch. I'm just teasing. But, you know, Fantasy also includes Christmas. Fantasy also includes Pirate. Technically, Tiki is Adventure, and he's supposed to be included in that of this, but we separated it to, you know, make the park a little bit more interesting. So Fantasy is a little bit spread out, and a lot of the Fantasy is part of the rides, right? We have kind of Alice in Wonderland style Fantasy. I wonder when this is coming in. We have to get some stuff in here. But we also have this gigantic Fantasy land that's behind that of Fantasy. So as, you know, contradicting myself a little bit, I wish it was bigger, but it is. It's just most of that is on-ride experience in terms of scale. So it's actually plenty big, if not bigger than most of the areas, if it might be just one of the biggest areas. If you take the Missy Goods ride, the whole experience and how long that ride is, like a 3-minute ride or whatever. Same with the Princess Coaster and the Lockjaw experience, plus the Christmas ride, tie it all together. Yeah, it's quite massive. Just the central plaza area that you walk around in the Fantasy, it's captivating, and part of me wants to explore that a little bit longer and a little bit more, because it's such a cool place to be immersed in. But it's plenty. It's more than enough. You could kind of say the same thing for Adventure. The actual main plaza area is quite small in comparison to the actual content that we provide. But that was the idea with this park, is most of the areas, the main streets, they were just that. They serve as branching points for all the queues, and then those rides are really the experience to take you a little bit further. There have been times where I've walked through parks that are so heavily in the Fantasy, and it's just like rows and rows of these Fantasy buildings, and there's no rides to go on, there's nothing to do, and you're just kind of walking through this town, and it can get a little bit redundant. So I do think this is a less is more situation, but I like the build so much that you know, I want to make more episodes on Fantasy. That's where my thought process was going. It's like, oh, well, once they're all placed, they're placed, and I don't get to see anymore. But maybe in the future we'll do some Fantasy contests, because I've been enjoying looking at these. So let's go ahead and place that at park. Oh my freaking god! You got to be kidding me. Which one's F16? This one? Guess who made this one, guys? I'll let you guess. Why? What happened? Why is this happening? Oh boy. It's Lost for words now. Oh boy. There it is. Let me go ahead and grab this sign, tuck it off of the corner. Oh god. So yeah, I can definitely say that Batch's favorite build style in Planet Coaster is fantasy. Holy Toledo's. It's my park. I contributed. I could have built what I want in it, and all of it. Well, if anyone were to build a lot of fantasy buildings, I'm glad Batch would be the one because he's good at it. They are very solid and very consistent. So now the whole fantasy area does cohesively blend together, and it looks good. These are solid builds by Batch, as much as I'm teasing. Very happy to see how they look. So great job on another Batch build. How many did he actually do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 16. Okay, that's only a third. It's only a third. Not too bad. I guess fantasy was not being signed out very rapidly, which is very strange to me, because I think that fantasy would probably be like the most popular build style in Planet Coaster, right? But I guess I'm wrong. Interesting. So that went a lot faster than I expected, but partially like when I place a build and I talk about it and I say what I like about it, it's, you know, to help, you know, to either to tell the builders what I like and ooh and ah about some of those things. Batch's builds, I'd be saying the same thing. I like everything about it, and a lot of the things that you did with this building, you also did with this building and this building over here. You have a certain build style that I've already talked about in the previous episodes, and therefore I am repeating myself. It's when somebody builds something that's different, or it's a different builder entirely, so they naturally do things differently, where there's new things to talk about, new things to comment on. So normally I talk for a few minutes on each of the builds, but majority of the builds here today were Batches. And, you know, that's not to take away from anything from what Batch did. These are great builds. They're really, really good. So if you guys want to learn how to build fantasy, I'd say take a look at these builds by Batch, because I think he represents the genre very nicely. So good job to Batch on these. I was expecting, I'm looking at my recording, this is 30 minutes. With editing, it's probably a lot less. So I was expecting things to go on a little bit longer here. And I actually am out of builds for fantasy. Looking at the sign out sheet, we obviously have this one. And who's this assigned to? So this one is Furo. And we also have the Fantastic Hatter, which I believe it was Augie. Yep, Augie's working on that. So hopefully we get something good there. And then we have the Missy Station, which was by Crazy Girl, which is my most anticipated build in this entire phase 2 of this park. I cannot wait to see what Crazy Girl does with that. I'm losing it. And then this Magical Monday, which is currently not assigned to anyone. And it reminds me, after this video is done, I got to jump into Discord and say, whoever takes this, just please make it, plankify it to fantasy. Fantasyify it. So yeah, the next time we revisit fantasy, we'll be putting in a hero build with the Missy Goods, as well as the park entrance for the area, as well as a centerpiece build that's multi-shopping. And then it's like a bakery and a juice and all that. So it will be 4 builds, and that will conclude this area of the park. Oh no, and the flat ride. So 3 hero builds, because you got the station, the park entrance, the flat ride, and the centerpiece. So I do think that is more than enough to fill out a future episode, and we'll probably even give the coaster another ride. And then we'll do all of the Christmas blueprints, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 remaining there. And then that'll flesh out that one. So yeah, like I said, I've pretty much caught up to you guys at the time of me recording this, and I'm just waiting. You know, it's like I don't want to do an episode on this if I have, you know, until I have all of the rest of the blueprints, which is a tiki coaster and a train station and a couple more over here. And some of those things are not ready yet. So yeah, at this very moment, I guess I have, well, looking at what I have on my end, just so you guys know, you would have seen if you're watching this video now, everything that I've done, you've already watched. But at the time of me making this, I have now 9 videos to go edit, which you guys would have watched 3 a week for the last 3 weeks. So by the time you've watched all of these videos, I should have hopefully started working on the rest of the videos. And we're on the final stretch. I did make a mistake. I forgot to change on the form. The ones that we placed for Spooky, I forgot to actually put placed in park on them. So from the last video till now, we have jumped from 45% to 54% in the park completion, because I also switched these to being placed in the park, which they already should have been. So we were a little bit behind. So now we're actually at the 54% mark. And so far for phase 2, I believe we've done, with these 9 videos included that I've recorded all the way up till now, I think 11. And that's just over the halfway mark. So if things go according to plan, we should get all of phase 2 done in 20 or so episodes. And I'm probably going to ramp it up too, like maybe even do all of Spooky in one episode. We'll see how it goes. But we're on track to completing this in January of 2024 from the looks of things. It just depends on how long the final presentation of things go, because I would like to do, depending how laggy the rides are, I might have to do some cheat engine videos. I definitely have to get some panning cameras in cheat engine, because you can see, like, well, it's not terrible, but if I push play, it might be. It's actually not that bad, all things considered. It's technically panning at 16 frames per second, so it just depends on the shot, how close we are. Like if I pan here, it's tearing a little bit. So it probably doesn't hurt to get some of the presentation shots, some of the footage for things, doing some tricky editing tricks there using cheat engine and things. But I suspect we'll be presenting a lot of the different rides and attractions as a series, and then doing one giant walk around park spotlight as a stream or something where you guys can talk and tell me where to go and comment that that's your build and whatnot. So we'll have some fun with it. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's episode, even though it's a little bit shorter. Fantasy is coming together though, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all done. I'm pretty excited about this flat ride as well as this station for Missy Goods. Boom, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. What did you think of Batch's builds? That is going to do it for us in today's episode of Project PlanCo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.